So, I've often said how much I love my job. As I'm rolling along today, listening to books and, just chilling. Got my TENS unit on my back, so hopefully it feels better, and just rolling along. However, I've also complained how crappy my company that I work for is, especially in the area of reimbursement and even payment of my check. So we had that long, drawn-out battle over my fuel reimbursements, at the end of which I was shorted about $400, but eventually I settled because, like I said, I like this job and I want to keep going. And one of the points that they brought up during this debate was that I make a lot of extra overtime, and that I've probably made way more extra money and extra overtime, excess overtime, than I was owed for fuel reimbursements. Now, I will say that this is a fair point, because when they were not paying me for fuel reimbursements, I definitely slowed down and took my time and took extra breaks, and because I figured it was the only way that I was gonna recoup my losses. And I was fucking right about that. At the end of the day, they shorted me, and I was goddamn glad I slacked off and made that excess overtime, as they called it. And here's the thing, there was a few paychecks ago, and we're still talking about it once again, and nobody's doing anything about it, we're just talking about it. I know it's messed up, I know it's a few $100s short, and once again, they're not doing anything about it, even though I've mentioned it, or talked to them and asked about it about 4 times by now. It's always, oh yeah, we'll get back to you by the end of the day, and they never do. And once again, I find myself, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to drive a little slower, I'm going to take a couple extra breaks, I'm going to sit between everything I do for 5 minutes and play on my phone, because fuck you guys. If you're not going to pay me correctly, then why do you expect me to be out here busting my ass? I am definitely going to go for that excess overtime, as they called it, because I am going to do just as much work as needed in order to not get fired. Because that's how the company's treating me. So, just a word out there to employers: pay your fucking people. It boggles my mind. And yeah, I'm not gonna say I was gonna pour my heart and soul into this regardless, but yeah, if they're gonna mess up my paychecks and my reimbursements, you can bet your ass I'm gonna go for some extra hours. Along the same lines, governments and citizens, we can expand this into the macro. If your government is just going to tell you what to do, take 30% of your income and use that 30% to send it to parasites in the form of welfare, corporate welfare, or just straight up fucking fraud and money laundering via proxy wars in other countries, because that's what proxy wars basically are, is money laundering. They use up their missiles and bombs so that they can build more and recoup their investments in the military-industrial complex, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But why would a government that does that expect their citizens to be loyal? Like, I am not going to be... I love living in America. I think it's definitely the best place to live. And it's one of the last places in the world where you can actually get it out of the mud by working hard. Most places you can't because the government takes too much of your money. But here there's still a chance where you can work and work your way up to better things, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to. But a government that takes that much of your money, wastes it, or, well, maybe not waste for them, somebody's making the money, but it sure isn't going to anything that I give a shit about. But a government that just takes your money, redistributes it to parasites, be they, you know, people who don't want to work, the political class, the corporate welfare, you know, however they redistribute it. I'm just not going to be loyal to that government. And I'm going to do everything I can to throw sand in the gears. You know, if I was smart enough to fraud the government, I 100% would. So, and I mean, anything that I can get away with not, you know, anytime that I can use cash for something and not pay taxes, I do it. Because fuck the government. So, governments, employers, when you stop treating your people well, they will stop respecting you. They will stop doing what you need them to do, and the entire engine is inevitably gonna go bust. So, just a warning.